Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, if you've seen my other video with the snowflake lighthouse mold, One Day Savings had approached me and wanted me to do some videos on there. So this is the other mold that I got, and it is a actual shelf mold, which I thought is cool and has a lot of potential, different things. And I don't know about you, but I always need shelf space, especially in my craft room. It's small, like it's not, you're not going to get a significant amount on it, but it is a cute little shelf. And I had seen a video, who was it? Nick Zametti had done one where he would turn potpourri in resin, and I thought, I wouldn't mind trying resin or potpourri in resin, so I thought I'd give it a go. So that's what we're doing today. So I got just this green potpourri, and I thought I would put it in the shelf and we'll see how I get on with it. All I'm doing is I just took some of the Rolio Crystal Diamond. It's like a super sparkle type stuff, and I put it into my clear resin. Now, I've never used this mold before, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know how much it's going to take, and I'm not going to measure it because that would just not be me to do something like that. So, what I'm doing is I'm going to start with a thin layer of resin in the mold and in the two pieces of the mold that's actually going to like hold the shelf up. I guess I don't know what they're called. We'll call them legs. But so that's what I'm doing right now. Just a thin clear layer with that super sparkle in there. And then I'm going to add this potpourri. Now, hindsight. Do a lot of this on this channel. The mold isn't so it's not particularly deep. Like it's not a super chunky mold, and having never really worked with potpourri, I mean, hell, I haven't even owned potpourri with the exception of this bag probably since I was in my early 20s, which is forever and a year ago. So, and I feel like they made it differently back then. I don't feel like it was quite so big and chunky and hard. But I figured we're gonna go with it, right? And just kind of see what happens. Now, when I initially started this, my plan was the bottom of the mold was going to be the bottom of the piece. So I was going to be working up like in, so that the top of the mold where I'm actually pouring the stuff in, whatever, is going to be the top of the piece. That changes halfway through, and you'll see why. Anyway, so I just went along those 90-degree corners and kind of took my silicone tool just to move any bubbles that may have been trapped there, going over with my heat gun just to pop them. And now I'm going to start putting this potpourri in, and I'm realizing that I'm going to have to like squish it down. And it's hard and it doesn't squish very easily. So I've and the pieces of course are too tall even for the little bit of resin that I have in there, and that's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to have to kind of break them up some, squish them down, try and make it work, try and make it so that because of the shape of them, I also am now worried about air bubbles getting caught underneath. So I'm kind of just playing with it to get it completely coated in resin as I'm, dipping it in there, crushing it up, and then I'm just going to lay it however I feel like it would look good. Again, in my head, this is going to be the top part that I'm looking at, not the bottom. So I'm trying to put the pieces up in the direction that I want to see them, which, changes. And I was hoping that I was going to be able to use more colors in there, but those big white pieces were just way too big and too hard. They were like, I don't know what they were, almost like nutshells or something, and I just wasn't going to crack them up and they weren't going to fit in this mold. So it's going to be predominantly green. So that's all I'm doing right now. It is a process. It does take quite some time to get them all in there and all of that good stuff. I mean, at this point, you know, you're seeing what I'm doing, so whatever. But I will take a quick second just to say that One Day Savings did ask me to let you guys know that they are doing a Black Friday sale from November 12th through the 30th. I will list all of that information in the description box along with your discount codes for One Day Savings and for Nick Pro in the box. So if you want to check it out, save yourself a little bit of money, you will have all of that information. And on that, I am done talking about it. And we will go back to the video. And at this point, I'm almost done. I'm getting the pieces in there. And I'm not like in love with this. I mean, it's cool. It's whatever, but I want something else in there. Initially, the thought in my head was I wanted this to kind of look more on the Christmassy side of things, and this is not a Christmas video. Like, it didn't turn out that way as things progressed and changed. I do have these, they're almost like aquarium rock type stuff that I am kind of sprinkling in there. I figured the red and the white would be Christmas. Again, this is before everything changed. So I kind of added that in there too, just to give it a little bit more color. I, yeah, I wasn't in love. So then I decide, okay, now it's time to fill it up. And as I'm filling it, I'm realizing that this potpourri, as heavy and as hard and thick as it is going to float. And that's a problem. I don't want it to float. I honestly, like, the amount that I've squished it and crunched it and tried to break it up to get it to fit into here, I still don't have the space for it to float up. Like, if it floats up, it's going to be over top of my mold, and that's not good. But I wanted to, I guess, to put a little bit more in there. I don't know. I don't know why I continued on at this point putting it in, but I did. So I pour it in there, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I can't add any more. Now it's getting too high. And I'm just kind of trying to push these pieces down again and get them to stay down, which, most of them do ish. But it's fine. It's fine. I still have some space, and I'm hoping that with the space that I have, when it cures later on, and I put my last coat of resin on it, then it'll be fine and it'll cover it and it'll all be gravy. Again, at this point, yeah, now this is me taking out resin because I realize that it's too much and it's not going to work. But at this point in my head, this is what it was going to be. The top coat that I put on it to finish filling the mold after this is cured is just going to be clear, and it's going to be a clear shelf with just the potpourri and the little rocks in it and the sparkle, and that's it. Well, things change, ideas happen. I ended up going a different route with it, and once I had finished this up and I had turned off the camera, I added a little bit of alcohol ink to it because I still wasn't happy with it. So this is the alcohol ink. I just kind of threw some drips in there. I didn't really do anything to it other than try to kind of spread it out a little bit just to kind of make it move again. Not loving it, not loving it. And there are some pieces that are now higher than the mold itself. So I just go in there with my craft tool and kind of try to cut them off so that when I pour this next layer of resin on, I'm not going to have a bunch of stuff sticking up. I don't want to have to do another coat after this and worry with all of that nonsense. I want this to be done. So I decided, well, since I've already gone this far with it, I wonder what it would look like if I ran some chameleon powder over it and put a black backing on it. So I grabbed my Nick Pro chameleon powder, and I'm just going over it with the red, purple, blue. It was the closest I had to the colors I was going with, and at this point, this is where Christmas anything goes out the window. like I said, I still wasn't loving the piece. I like the mold a lot. I do. I like the shelf and how it turns out. As far as how, hmm, I don't know how I feel about how it looks. Like, it's okay. Not in love. Do it completely different next time. And I don't know how I feel about the whole potpourri thing, especially not in this project. Maybe in something else, maybe. And if I ever get a lathe one day, which I kind of would like to get and learn how to do that, I think that that is so cool. Um, you know, I yeah, I could probably do some really neat stuff with it, but at this point, potpourri's not doing it for me. It's just not. So anyway, it's nice and covered. Now it's time to pour the black on, and I'm just going to use the HTV Ront black pigment paste that I have, mix it in, and we're going to top this baby off. And then fingers crossed, hope for the best and see how this turns out. Uh yeah. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you think about it. Like, I've got mixed feelings about how it looks. I really do. My daughter likes it. She thinks it's really cool. I'm just not so sure. Again, the mold was great. No issues with the mold at all. The only thing that I do say that I wish that they included on this is I wish they had like the little holes like not like notched out or whatever, so that when you pour the little shelf leggy things, that the holes would already be there so you don't have to worry about screwing or drilling a hole in there. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the one thing that this is lacking is when you put it together, and you'll see here in the at the end, when you put it together, like the shelf fits on there fine and everything, unless you over pour like I did, and I don't even know how the hell it happened because I didn't think that I had. Uh I ended up doing it and I had to cut some out to make the leggy things fit in the shelf. But anyway, if you don't over pour and you do it right, it works fine. But there's not a lot of space to there's space. I don't want to have to drill. Like, I want it to be done for me. I guess it's just me being lazy, but I just don't want to have to try and figure out how to make stuff straight. Like, I can't do straight lines and stuff to save my life. And now you want me to drill not one, not two, not three, but four holes in this thing to and make them all line up perfectly? That's not me. Like, it's just not. I'm sorry. So there's the problem with that. I ended up getting a command strip and cutting it in half and attaching that to the back, which is fine, but it would be sturdier if I could put a nail or a screw or something in there. And I just wish that the legs had those holes there for you to do so you don't have to do, it other ways just to make my life a little bit easier, you know? That's all I'm saying. So here we are 24 hours later. Time to demold these. And I can see the overpour, which again, don't really know how it happened or why, but it did. And you can still see it's a little bumpy on the bottom where the stuff just didn't get completely covered. And here it is. Don't know. I mean, it's got, I guess, some neat effects. It is quite a stout shelf. Like, I weighed it because I wasn't sure if the command strips would hold it or how many I need, like the ones that I have, or if I was going to have to go out and buy other ones because, again, I'm just not going to drill. Uh, and it weighs like 1.5 pounds. So, I mean, it is pretty heavy, but I don't know, guys. I don't know how I feel about it. I just don't. And I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys think? I mean, like, it does have some neat effects. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. It does. maybe it's because it wasn't what I had in my head when I started it, and I don't know. I just thought it would be super, super cool, and it's just not. Yeah. See, I overpoured on here, so it wouldn't fit in easily. I had to fool around with it and cut it off. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I'll try it again, and I'll do something better with it next time, and I guess think things through completely. You know, I don't necessarily always do that. I get an idea and I run with it, and then kind of figure it out as I go along. And, you know, I don't know. And there was a little, I guess when I had it laid out, I don't, I mean, I guess it could be the mold. I don't know. I'll have to do it again and see. I put it on like a cookie cooling rack that I had that at least once upon a time it was completely level, and I'm guessing it wasn't because it is slightly not quite level, where one side, I'm assuming the side that is had the overpour on it, is a little bit thicker. So that was, contributed to my issue as well. And I the way it cured on the top, like there's a slight dip in it. So I will have to replace that, but I when I did it, like I have to somehow, like the molds that are big like this, I can't just transfer over to where I dry them at. So I had to use something else, and I didn't take it off of the rack like I typically do. And you can kind of see where my right hand is, where there's like that little dip where the light's hitting it. But here's the finished product. I mean, it's okay. Anyway, on that note, I'm a bounce. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will catch you in the next one. Love you. Bye.